Hi guys, welcome to the 22nd session on 12C DBA for beginners, and we have just started or we just completed first part of the 13th chapter in the last session. So in this session we are going to cover the rest part of this 13th chapter, which will cover the concepts around the backup and recovery. Okay. So to start with the first topic of this session, the topic name is available solutions. It is this particular, you know, table is taken from the Oracle docs. So this particular table, it will tell you what are the available solutions by the Oracle for each objective that is required for backup and recovery. Okay. So let me read this table so that it makes meaningful to you. So the first column tells you what is the problem, and the second column will tell you from the problem, how much time you would ideally need to recover. You know, so for this particular, these both requirements together, what are the solutions available by the Oracle is what this table will tell you. So the first thing is whenever there is a physical data corruption, probably because physical data corruption is nothing but completely your hard disk might be unavailable. So for that, the recovery time objective would be within an hours or within days. This is what a project or a business would expect to recover from, for which the Oracle solutions are RMAN, that is nothing but your recovery manager, and Oracle Secure Backup. So Oracle Secure Backup is something which we rarely use, but one such solution which we mostly use is RMAN, that is Recovery Manager. So whenever there is a data, protection or something that is related to the physical data movement, definitely RMAN is something which is most oftenly used, and it is a primary skill for every DBA. Next, whenever there is a logical data, protection we might need it for recovery would be expected within minutes and maximum hours. So for which flashback technologies are something that is already Oracle has, released as a feature. And then for analysis, just for the recovery analysis, you have to minimize the time for just problem identification, and then how do we plan the recovery. For that, you should, it should be as low as possible, for which there is data recovery advisor that Oracle has come up with. Okay, and then for the disaster recovery purpose, not for backup and recovery, for disaster recovery is nothing but in case if the complete data center goes down because of a disaster, you can call it as a natural calamity or a fire accident, or it can be anything, floods, it can be anything. So with that, you expect, in case if you are expecting the data to be available in next minute or within seconds, the available Oracle solution is DataGuard. So in the data guard, you also have something called active data guard. So you can also use the active data guard or any other data guard configuration. So it's again a different skill that you need to basically learn. It's a different technology within the Oracle database administration, wherein you will have different options like active data guard, physical standby, logical standby, snapshot standby. So all these things are options available within the data guard. Okay. So now the next topic for us is configuring for recoverability. So how do you make sure that all these recoveries are made possible? Okay. So there are four different things that you basically have to remember in case if you want your database to be recovered either for complete recovery or for incomplete recovery or for disaster recovery. It can be any sort of requirements. For that, you need to have all these four things in place, without which you cannot expect you can recover your database as per the requirement. Okay, you cannot face instance failures, you cannot face user errors, you cannot face physical data corruptions, you cannot face loss of your complete data center, you cannot face everything if you don't have all these things in place. So one is the important thing, that is scheduling regular backups. That means every day it's responsibility of the DBA to take the backups of your database. Now there are a lot of methods which will help you to optimize the sizes of the backups, because if you're taking the same database backup every day, that means you are having the redundant copy of the database on the, in the form of backups also on the disk, which will be eating up a lot of space, right? There are optimized methods also, how do you take the backup of the database, but it is the responsibility of the DBA to take the daily backups of the databases. There are certain projects where they take twice backups a day. or thrice backups a day is also possible in case if your database is drastically changing. So people would do that definitely. So regular backups is one thing, and next thing is multiplexing control files. What is multiplexing control files? I'll just show you. Let me connect to my database. So I have just started my virtual machine, so I'm connecting it. I'm sure my database is up and running as well, so I'm not, setting up. I mean, I'm not bringing up the listener and database because they are already up and running. So now let me connect to my database. As we have seen what is a control file already, if you just say show parameter control file or control files, you can clearly see that there are multiple control files. All these multiple control files, there are two control files at the moment. These two control files will have the same content at any given point of time. So that means these two control files are, redundant copies. But why do you need two different control files as a redundant copy? The reason is you are expected to face any disk level. If you are experiencing any disk level failures, there will be a control file which is available on the other disk. For us, for the time being, because it is only a test environment, slash raw data is a mount point. It is considered as a disk in real time. Slash another disk will be considered in the real time. These both will be on the different disks. When you have files on the different disks, that means you are basically you will be on the safe side. If one of the disk gets fails, your control files are not gone. If both the control files are there in the same disk, then if the disk is failed, both the control files are gone. That is the reason why we call it as multiplexing control files. So multiplexing control files is nothing but having redundant copies of the same control files but on different disks. So even if one of the disk fails, there will be another copy of the control file which will be available and can be used by the database. So very similarly, multiplexing redo log groups as well. So each group you can have, each group can have multiple members, right? So each member of a group should be on a different disk. It is not that each group should be on a different disk. Each member of group should be on a different disk. So a group of redo log groups can have multiple members. Each member in the group is a redundant copy. So then let me show you our current redo log groups. Select members from v$log. So select group hash comma members from v$log. So that means each group has got two members. What I'm trying to say is the copy of each member in the same group will have the same data. That means in each group, if you have five members will have the same redo log group content. Redo content will be the same. But why do we have multiple members in each group? At any given point of time, only one group can be active. We have also discussed the same thing, and there is also a blog on my website. You can just check that. Each group will be active. That means log writer will be actively writing the redo contents into that log file. Once from one group to another group switch happens, the content of one group is basically written in the archive log files. This is what we have learned architecture, right? So in that, if there are multiple members, each member will have the same content. But multiplexing redo log groups is nothing but each member of a group should be on a different disk. No two members or no member in the same group should be on the same disk. That means you are on the safe side. So let me actually check what is this location now. So describe v$log file will have that information. Select member comma group hash from v$log file. Sorry, select member comma group hash. So now if you see in group number 1 there are two redo log files, two redo log members. One is in RRDB, one is in FRA, right, for the same redo log group 1. But in reality it should not be in slash raw data, both of them. One should be in one disk, another one should be in another disk, so that you are actually safe from you are configuring multiplexing and then you are safe from failures. Very similarly, retain archive log copies for the groups. As I told you, you need to enable the archive log mode. Every time when the redo log switch is happening, there is an archive log generated. It is the responsibility of the DBA to save those archive logs for future references. These are the four important things that you need to do in case if you have to face recoveries in future smoothly. Okay, so that is what you need to remember as well. Now the next important feature that Oracle has come up with is fast recovery area. If you have seen in these outputs, there is a directory called FRA. Okay, and you can also check that from the parameter called recovery. So db underscore recovery underscore file underscore dest is nothing but the fast recovery area, that stands for FRA, and this is the maximum size, this fast recovery area, that your database can use. It is almost 4 gig, right? So what is this fast recovery area? You have to basically understand. Fast recovery area is a feature that has been added by the Oracle to speed up the process of the backups. So if you are configuring the backups destination location to the fast recovery area, your backups are partly maintained by the Oracle database automatically. That means if the data backup files are in fast recovery area, cleaning up the backup files will be easy. Maintaining the retentions of the backup files will be easy. Removing obsolete backup files will be very easy. Obsolete is nothing but whenever a backup has gone through the expiry date, those backups are called as obsolete backups. So whenever there are obsolete backups, if you want to remove those obsolete backups, removing them, if the databases are in fast recovery area, is very, very easy. And any files which are in fast recovery area can be easily recognizable by Oracle database. So whenever database is coming up, if the fast recovery area has been configured, it will go and scan all the files available in the fast recovery area, and it can easily understand what file is what. If it is a control file, it easily understands that it is a control file, redo log file, and then backup files, all of them. Fast recovery area is something that will basically remember for. And then whenever you are using flashback for database at the database level, there are something called as flashback logs are also generated. So if there are flashback logs to be generated and you are enabling flashback on the database level, these flashback logs by default will be saved in fast recovery area. So as you can see, multiplexed control files, multiplexed redo log files are also expected to have a copy in the fast recovery area. That is the reason why we have one of the other members in redo log groups as well as in control files are in FRA by default. That is what Oracle advises. So fast recovery area is nothing but a location on your Unix server in which it is mostly used by the Oracle database by default for backups, by default for control file, archive logs, by default for your backups, archive log files, also for the multiplexed control files and multiplexed redo log files. And whatever disk size you allocate, right, that is the disk size mostly it can occupy. In case if you have enough space on the disk, but FRA is filling up, you can just alter this parameter to a next higher value. You will be increasing the size of your fast recovery area. As simple as that. Okay. So multiplex the control file, as I told you, same thing. In case if you have a control file in one location, and in case if you wanted those control files to have a copy in a different location, you need to basically have you can set the control file with file system storage and the different location. See here, how do we add an additional control file? You have to alter the SP file, set the control file locations with the new command, then shut down the database and bring up the database. But whenever you are bringing it up, you have to copy the control file to the new location. So shall we do this? It will be very, very exciting. So let me do that. Then it will be, control files parameter is not a dynamic parameter, it's a static parameter. So let me show you an activity on how do we create a multiplexed control file now. That means 3 copies. Now let me show you, show parameter control. Now there are 2 copies. Now I will say alter system set control underscore files is equals to all of this, okay, comma, I'm sorry, I think this will throw an error, so let me actually cancel it because there are new lines in this. So this is the first control file, this is the second control file, alright, and this one, and the third control file I wanted to create in /raw data, only in /FRA ctrl underscore manually created dot ctl. Now scope is equals to sp file is something that I have to use. Now there are three control files according to the sp file. It is not yet updated in the memory, right? So that is what scope is used for. Now what I should do is to make a redundant copy. It is as simple as this. You have to shut it down. You either copy the control file from this location to new location or second location to this new location, because both the control files will have the same copy. It's a redundant image, right? So now what I'll do is uh, on the operating system, once system is shut down, I'll just copy it. So just check now. Copy this file to this file. Done. Now connect back to the database and then start it up. This is what is said here. So you need to just set it up with the sp file is equals to scope is equals to sp file. Shut it down, copy the control file to new location, and then you start up the database. Okay. So there is an error here. Instance is started. That means parameter file has no issue. Error in identifying control file. Check alert log. Okay. I think did we have something different, some different name? That is something that we need to check. Slash raw data slash fra control manual. Okay, so let me check the alert log file. cd slash oracle slash base slash admin diag slash cd rdbms, then rdb, and then yes, tail hyphen 100 alert log file. Sorry, where am I? rdbms, this one, cd tns trace. Okay, tail hyphen 100 alert log file. Now what does it say? Unable to obtain the file status. Which file status? Cannot open the specified control file. Okay,
Sir,
so let us check this. What happened to this file? Yeah, it is there, but why is it telling it cannot do it? Control file is sp file. Okay, so let me check this. Okay, 1 minute. So I think I'm getting some clue here. The way that we have set the parameter, I think that has to be changed. So let me actually get back to alert log file to the last 500 lines, and let me check when it was open. Tail hyphen 2000 alert log file, right? So now let me get back to the location where it started earlier. So right, okay, Oracle base. Yeah, if you see here, the control files are in separate this one. So I think the way that we have created the control files, that was the problem. So here if you see control files have come to one single line, that is not the case. It should be separated. So I think the syntax has to be changed. So let me set this again. It is not, there is no problem with the files. The problem is with the syntax. Show parameter control underscore files. Now is that alter system set control underscore files is equals to this is the one. I'm just checking. Okay, comma, This is the next one. Oh, I'm forgetting this one. How can I do this? Okay. FRA slash ORADB, this one, comma, and then this one. Okay, let's see this syntax. Yeah. Now if I say shutdown immediate, and then if I say startup, let's see. Because earlier, in one single quotation, I gave all the control file locations separated by comma. It was looking out for the control file name with the complete all three names, which will not be practically available, right? So that was the reason of error. So if I now say startup, let us see. It should pick up these three control files from three different locations. Alright, now it is working fine. Yeah, so it's only a syntax problem. So I think you guys have identified how did I debug as well, right? So alert log file is one of the basic, uh, you know, uh, source of the error. And then I compared it, how did it, identified the control files from the previous startup. Then I compared it, I found the difference of how is it identifying the file name. Then I came to know that, the control file syntax was the problem, and then I corrected it. So this is how you need to also try to debug when you're working as DBA. Alright? Okay. Very similarly, as I spoke about redo log files, you have to multiplex the redo log files also on two different locations. You will often see plus data and plus FRA. Do not worry about it at the moment. These are disk as equal to as disks in your real-time scenario like C drive, D drive, E drive. These are also some disks, but they are allocated from ASM. I think we have discussed in short about ASM, that is nothing but automatic storage management by Oracle. This is what we discussed in storage architecture or storage. I think managing storage architectures is what we have discussed about this. So whenever you see a plus before a storage location, that is nothing but the storage is not in Linux operating system, but it is managed by ASM libraries. That's it. That is the only difference. Apart from that, you can consider for the time being that any other things is same as your Unix operating system files. That's it. The same thing we have seen, member A should be in one group, member B of the same group should be in another disk, right, in the FRA. That is what we have seen. So that is the best way to actually have the, that is the best way to have your multiplexed redo log files also. It is always recommended because we never know tomorrow what disk will fail. If one of the disks fails, yes, definitely you have another copy available. But if both the disks fail, then there is nothing that you can do. You can only wait for recovery. That's it. Now archive log files, as you guys already know, from the online redo log files, every time when there is a switch between one group to another group, archiver is the background process which will write the same content in a sequential incremented archived log files. So it is not a recyclable. It's always an incremented sequential archive log files generated for every redo log switch happens. So redo logs are recyclable. That means after it comes back to the third group, it will come back to the first group. But archive log files are not that. Once an archive log is generated, it will leave that and it will keep moving forward. It will never bother about the archive logs which are generated in the past. So those are physical files existing for you to have a copy of your redo information at any given point of time. So archive log files is something that is configurable. That means archiving is optional. So let us check how do we let us see how do we check if a database is archive logged or not. Just say, not show, archive log list. If you say here, at the moment archive logging is enabled and it is using recovery file destination. So what is recovery file destination? It is your FRA. So the current archive log sequence number is 27. That means already there are 25 times redo log switch happened. That means 25 archive logs are already generated in this recovery file destination. Let us check that. So the location of your DB recovery file destination is ORAData FRA. In this you have something called database name, and in here you have archive log file. Archive logs, here you have date wise. So if you just check today, the latest one, okay, so if you see here, today is 26th archive log generated already. That is the reason why The next archive log sequence that will generate is 27. So if you just come back to the first day, or I mean the oldest archive log file which is available, it is not there. So let me come back and check in which location do we have. Okay, even here we don't have. So when did we actually generate archive log file? I think here, because I can see a different size. So here we have enabled archive log file. I can see the archive log file has been enabled after the redo logs have switched almost 9 times. Until the 9 times redo log switch happened, we did not enable the archive log mode. That is the reason all before archive log files are not available. So archive log files are only available only after you enable it, and once you enable it, the current sequence will start generating. It will not start from 1. It will start from the current switch that happened. All these redo log switches are basically recorded in the control file. So it will know what is the redo log switch now, and it will take that switch number and create the archive log file just to be in safe hands. Okay, so that the file names will never overlap. So enabling an archive log mode, I think we did this activity before as well. So enabling or disabling archive log mode will require restart of the database. That is the first important thing you guys have to remember. So because archive log is already enabled, I'll show you how to disable it. So you need to first shut down the database. So whenever you have an activity of enabling archive log mode or disabling archive log mode in real time, consider that it requires a downtime. Downtime is also called as maintenance time as well in your real-time work. So you have to shut it down. You have to bring back your database to mount stage. Okay, startup mount, and then in the mount stage only you can change the database archive log modes from archive to no archive or no archive to archive. It is up to you. Now let's say alter database no archive log. Because it was already enabled archive log mode, I said no archive log mode. Now after it is done, just say alter database open, because this is the third phase of opening the database, right? That's it. Now if you say archive log list, you will see that archive log is disabled. Cool. That means for whatever redo log switches happens from now, there are no archive logs generated. So which will be a very tough job for the DBA to perform the recovery in case of failures. This is the reason why in the beginning of this session I was telling you the first 4 things that you need to configure to have your database backups possible is nothing but schedule daily backups, multiplex your control files, multiplex your redo log files, and the last important thing is have your database archive log enabled and retain the copy of all the archive logs being generated. Whatever, I mean, it is not possible to retain each and everything, but retain the archive log files which are very, very important for a certain timestamp at least. For example, 10 days back archives you need to retain. Before that, don't worry about them. If your business accepts for that, definitely you have to worry about retaining the archive log files for the last 10 days. Okay. Now, in case if you want to again enable it, there is no other go. You need to basically shut down it again, shut down immediate, and then just say startup mount. Let these 2 things complete, and then instead of no archive log, you would just say alter database archive log. With this, I think I have the topics that I wanted to cover done for this backups and recovery concepts. So in case if you guys have any questions for these for the topics that we have discussed, we can discuss them now. And just to give a heads up, in the next particular session, we are going to have backups run using rman. So we are going to see what are the different types of backups we can take, like incremental backups, full backups, etc., etc. And then we are going to run rman backups also in the next session. So that is it, chapter number 14. That will be done in next session. So chapter number 15 will be done in another session. That will be recovery process. So these are the 2 sessions that will handle up backups and recoveries that is pending. So now if you say alter database open and then archive log list down, you will see it is as enabled. So if you just check $, there is another way also to check if the database is in archive log mode or not. I'll just show you. $V database activation. Current SCN production. Yeah. So let us check. Select log underscore mode from V dollar database. So it is archive log. So if it is not archive log mode, this particular log mode will be no archive log, if I remember correct, or it will be empty. But if it is in archive log mode, log underscore mode from V dollar database dynamic performance view will have that information as well. It is not only the way that we check from show, I mean archive log list is one way to check. This is also possible. But in case if you want to use it in the scripting in future, you can also use this particular way of identifying. Alright, I think you guys can go up with your questions now. So hope no questions. Let's meet in the next session. Bye bye.